morning from Beijing. You're watching The World Today. I'm Hona. We begin from the Chinese capital, where authorities are briefing the media on China's civil affairs in the new era. By the end of 2020, over 19 million poor people were covered by a relief and support system as part of a nationwide poverty alleviation campaign. Let's listen in.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning.
Welcome to the press conference hosted by the Publicity Department of the CPC Central Committee. This is the 28th of the China in the last 10 years series of press conferences, and we have Mr. Zhan Chengfu, Vice Minister of Civil Affairs, to brief you on relevant work and take your questions. We also have with us spokesperson and DG of the General Office of the Ministry of Civil Affairs, or MCA, Mr. Li Baojun, Mr. Liu Xitang, DG of the Social Assistance Department, MCA, Mr. Chen Yueliang, DG of Community Government Work and Governance Department of MCA, and Mr. Li Banghua, Head of the Elderly Care Department. And I will now give the floor to Mr. Zhan Chengfu to give his remarks. Friends from the press, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is a great honor that my colleagues and I today will brief you on the work of civil affairs in the past 10 years since the 18th Party Congress. As you know, civil affairs work is vital for people's livelihood. It is foundational work of society. It's about meeting people's basic living needs. Since the 18th Party Congress, civil affairs departments at all levels have followed the guidance of Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era and kept in mind the purpose of letting the people live a good life. With a focus on poverty alleviation, on special groups, and on the concerns of the people, we have put our effort and attention to meeting basic living needs, improving community-level social governance, and providing basic social services. It has been 10 years of hard work and 10 years of brilliant achievements, a period of milestone significance in civil affairs work, which can be summed up in the following three aspects. First, the work of meeting people's basic living needs has reached a new level, helping those groups in particular difficulty to join the rest of the country and reach moderate prosperity. In the past 10 years, we have basically built a social assistance system with Chinese characteristics. On a yearly average, this system protects more than 40 million subsistence allowance recipients, nearly 5 million people living on extreme poverty aid, about 10 million temporary assistance recipients, and more than 2.3 million homeless people and beggars of all kinds. We have successfully accomplished the task of ensuring basic livelihoods in the fight against poverty, and 19.36 million impoverished people have been able to get rid of poverty. We are also improving the mechanism of price subsidies, expanding the eligibility of low-income insurance, and conducting dynamic monitoring and regular assistance and aid for the more than 62 million low-income people, thus consolidating and amplifying the achievements in meeting basic living needs and paving the way for the transition into the rural revitalization strategy. In the past 10 years, the level of benefits has been rising in meeting people's basic living needs. From 2012 to 2021, the average benefits of urban and rural low-income insurance have increased by 1.2 times and 2.1 times respectively. Up to now, the average benefits for Up until now, the average benefits for institutionalized and non-institutionalized orphans have reached 1,728 yuan per person per month and 1,288 yuan per month per person respectively, an increase of 77.9% and 83.1% respectively from 2012. In the past 10 years, more people are eligible for assistance assistance to meet basic living needs. De facto unsupported children are now covered by the scheme, a system of caring for and serving the elderly, women and children left behind in rural areas established, and a system for protecting minors is built. We have established a system of living allowance for the disabled living in difficulty and care allowance for the severely disabled, benefiting nearly 20 million disabled people every year. Over the past 10 years, the charitable cause has flourished. From 2020, the annual charitable donations have exceeded 200 billion yuan, and from 2012 to 2021, 1,860 billion yuan of welfare lottery tickets were issued, raising a total of over 540 billion yuan of public welfare lottery funds. Second, we have made more solid progress in community-level social governance, contributing to the miracle of long-term social stability. Over the last 10 years, the system of community-level self-governance led by the party has become more mature and stable, expanding the channels of community-level democracy, enriching its forms and enhancing its effectiveness, thus playing a unique and important role in the development of China's whole process people's democracy. We continue to explore urban and rural community governance and strengthen the community's service functions. 100% of urban and 79.5% of rural communities provide integrated service facilities. The more than 4 million community workers have played an important role in serving the people, and particularly in COVID control in the last 3 years.
We have strengthened the work of social organizations, promoted party building, completed the decoupling reform of industry associations, chambers of commerce, and administrative agencies as scheduled, and cracked down on illegal social organizations in accordance with the law. At present, the total number of registered social organizations nationwide reached 900,000, 1.7 times that of 2012. We continue to nurture more social workers. China now has 737,000 licensed social workers, nearly 9 times that of 2012. More than 1.29 million volunteer teams, composed by more than 220 million registered volunteers, accounting for 15.9% of total Chinese population. Third, basic social services developed at a faster pace, contributing more to the improvement of people's living standards. In the past decade, we have improved the elderly care service system that coordinates home-based care and community-based services and integrates medical care and health care. Up to now, there are 360,000 elderly care institutions and facilities nationwide, with more than 8.12 million beds, nearly twice that of 2012. The system of old age allowance, elderly care service subsidy, care subsidy for disabled elderly, and comprehensive subsidy have been improved, benefiting nearly 37 million elderly people. We have completely abolished marriage registration fees and piloted an inter-provincial marriage registration policy for the well-being of families. We have promoted the funeral policy for the people and strive to solve urgent problems for the people in this field. The regulations on the administration of administrative divisions is formulated. The regulations on the administration of geographical names is revised, through which we have coordinated and promoted major adjustments of administrative divisions and provided public with the services. Looking back, we are very pleased to see that the past decade has witnessed encouraging historic changes in civil affairs, while showing a better prospect for development. The underlying foundation is the strong leadership of the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, and the scientific guidance of Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era. We should deeply understand the decisive significance of the two establishments. We must strengthen our full consciousness, for confidence, and to uphold. On the new journey that lies before us in the new era, The ministry will better perform our duty and take more effective steps in safeguarding basic livelihood protection, community-level social governance, and basic social services. We'll do everything in our capacity and work away at issue by issue, year in and year out, so that the people will have a more robust, solid, and sustainable sense of fulfillment, happiness, and security. The ministry will make greater contribution to building China into a modern socialist country in all respects and realizing the Chinese dream of national rejuvenation. Next, my colleagues and I will take your questions. Thank you.
Thank you for your opening remarks. Now the floor is open for questions. Please identify your affiliation before you raise your question.
谢谢主持人。央广记者提问：党和国家历来高度重视基本民生保障和社会救助工作。那么，请问民政部在
The party and the country has paid a lot of attention to basic livelihood safeguard and social assistance. What are the steps taken by the ministry, and what are the plans in the future? Thank you for your question.
我们在座的各位记者都很关心，全社会也很关心。
The society, including us in this conference, pays a lot of attention to this topic. And I will give the floor to my colleague.
感谢您的问题。党的18大以来啊，民政部深
Thank you
入
for your
贯
question.
彻落实习近
Since
平
the
总书记重要
18th
指示
Party
执行精
Congress,
神和党
the
中央的
Ministry
决策
of
部署，
Civil
会同有
Affairs
关部
has
门啊，
thoroughly
全
implemented
面落
important
实社会救助
instructions
各项政
of
策，
General
可以说
Secretary
取
Xi
得了
Jinping
历
and the
史的成就。
decision and
我想从
deployment
各
of the
方面
Party Central
做了介
Committee.
绍。
And we
第一呢
have fully
是基本
implemented
建成了中
the
国特色的社会救
decisions.
助体。这
First
个
of
体
all,
系
we
呢
have
是以基本
established
生活救
the
助、专项
social
社会救
assistance
助、急难社
system
会救
with
助为
Chinese
主体，以
characteristics,
社会力量参与
with
为
basic
头，
living
可以
assistance,
说
special social
覆盖全
assistance,
面，
and emergency
城乡
social
统筹，
assistance at the
分层分
mainstay
类，
and social efforts
综
as
合高效。
supplement. The system is
低保和
comprehensive,
特困
tiered,
供养
and
的
efficient.
这两项基本生活救助制度可以说是
Basic
成熟并
livelihoods
行，
assistance
像医
systems
疗救
such
助、
as
住房救助、教育
subsistence
救助、
alliance
就业
and
救助、
special
受灾人员救
difficulty
助、
support are
党
well
专项救助、
established.
及时帮
Special
助困难
assistance
群众的
systems
解
such
决
as
相应
medical
问题。
assistance,
临
education,
时救助
housing,
和流浪
employment
乞讨人员
assistance,
救
and
助制度呢
disaster relief
等
helps
急难
people
社
in
会救助
difficulties
为临
to
时
solve them
遇困人
problems
员
in the
排忧
more
解难
timely
可
manner.
以说城乡群众在生活上遇到的困难
So all of the
都有相
problems
应的
met
制度进
by
行保障。
urban and rural residents will be
第二
solved
个
through
方面呢
these
是困难
systems.
群众的基本
Second,
生活得到了制度性的保障，大家
the
耳熟
basic
能详的
livelihood
这个
of
低保制度
needy
可以说
of
是困难
these
群众基本
people
生
are
活救助的一个
institutionalized.
主体性的一个制度安排。那么这个
The
制度呢，
basic
目前低保呢在
substances
对象认
alliance
定啊，在
is
收
a
入核算呀，在
foundation
办理
in
的
this
流程
system.
啊，以及资金发放、动态管理等方面，可以说是越来越成熟、越来越规范
The，system has
也更
become
加
more
具有
mature
包
and
容性，也
standardized,
更有温度。
as well as
比如说
inclusive and
我们将低保
considerate
边
in
缘家
terms
庭
of
的共进共
qualification,
谈、单
accounting,
独纳入低保，
processing,
增加了就
distribution,
业
and
成本扣减、
management.
低保减退等
For
这样的一些
example,
制
we
度。
have provided special
特困人员救助供养
arrangements
的，把
including
城市的
tax
3无人员
deduction.
救助和农村的五保供养，就过去的农村五保供养整合为特困人员供养制度，成为与
Urban residents and
低
rural
保制度
residents
并行的一
living
项基
in
本生活
difficulties are
救助制
included
度。
in the
临时
system.
救助制度呢，突出了救济解难，重在解决群众的突发性、
Special attention
紧
was
迫性的
paid
基本生活困
to
难。2021
help them
年
relieve
全
their
国共有
difficulties
4680 万
and
困
especially
难群
those
众纳入低保或
emergencies.
特困，全年实施临时救助呢1198.6万人次。那么当然这些数字
In
是
the whole
动态
year,
的，每一
more
年都
than
不一样。第三个方面是社会救助
10.89
水
million
平实现
benefited
了
from
8月
the
的增长。
assistance system.
除了这个詹部长刚才
And we
介绍
have
的低保
seen
标
leaps
准的
and
实验变
bounds,
化之外，我还想再
achievements,
补充
and
一个数
growth
据，
in
就
this
是各地财
mechanism.
政累计这10年支出的基本生活救助资金2.04万亿元，可以说是有力的保障了困难群众基本生活。低保资金
More
和
than
其他
2
的
trillion
都能
RMB
足额
funds
的及
was
时发放。
earmarked
第四个方面呢，
for
是
this
在打赢
area
脱贫
so
攻坚
that
战，
a lot
全
of the
面建成
problems
小康
that
社会主义，
residents
发
have
挥了
met
重要的动
can
作
be
用。
addressed through this
在脱
fund.
贫攻坚期内，全国共有
In the battle against
1936
extreme
万
poverty,
建档立卡的贫困人口纳入了低保或者
more
特
than
困，占总的脱贫人口的
1.2 million
10.6%。
impoverished population were included in the system. After we have won the battle against extreme poverty, we have helped those unstable population that may go back to poverty to be included in the system. And those people can receive basic substances allowances to live a better life. Low-income population were monitored in a dynamic manner. By establishing the monitoring platform, we have benefited 22 million low-income people, accounting for about 4.4% of the total population. Together with competent departments, the ministry have improved the mechanism in a targeted and effective manner. Looking forward, we will adhere to the people-centered development and deepen the reform of the system and give full play to the dynamic monetary system so as to safeguard the livelihood security and build a greater safety net for the people. Thank you.
谢谢主持人。中央广播电视总台央视记者提问。健全和完善老年人、儿童、残疾人为主要对象的社会福利体系关系的民生福祉。想请问一下，今天您在这些方面取得了哪些成果？谢谢。
So what are the steps that the ministry is taking in this regard?
这个社会福利以及社会福利体系
Social welfare
全社会都很关注的话题。
is an important topic that has caught the attention of everyone in the society. Since the 18th National Congress of the party, we have done a lot of work in this field. I'll give the floor to my colleague.
好的，感谢这位记者的提问。
Thank you for your
社会
question.
福利是增进人民福祉的重
Social
要制度性
welfare
安
is
排。
an important
党的
institutional
18大以来，
arrangement.
习近平总书记呢
Since the
多次做出
18th
重要的指示批
CPC
示，
National Congress,
要求
the
坚持
General
以人民
Secretary
为
Xi
中心的
Jinping
发
has
展
made
思想，
important instructions
加快健全老
on
年人关爱服
upholding
务
the
体系，
people-centered
完
approach,
善残疾人、
improving
孤儿
the
党
elderly
社会
care
福利
service
制度，
system,
补
and
齐呢农
improving
村
the
社会福利短板。
welfare system for the
各级民
disabled
政部
people
门
and
认真贯
orphans.
彻落实习近平总书记
Civil
重要
welfare
指示批示
departments
精
at
神
all
和党
levels
中央、国务
earnestly
院决策部署，
implemented the
推进
instructions
社会福利
in
事业
letter
发展
and
迈
in
上了新的
spirit,
台阶。
as well as decisions and
一是呢，
deployment made
持
by
续
the
完
CPC
善
Central
老年
Committee
人
and
福利，
State Council. First
推
of
动
all,
老
we
年人
have
高龄津贴、经济困难老年
improved
人
the
服务
welfare for the
津贴、
old.
势能老年人
Efforts have
护
been
理
made
补
to
贴制度，
expand the
实
system
现了
of
省
old
级
age
全覆
allowance,
盖。
elderly care
截至目
service
前，
subsidy
已
for
分别
those
惠
with
及
special difficulties
3069.5
for
万、
disabled elderly to
447.9
cover
万
all
和
provinces
78.9
so
万老
far,
年人。已
benefiting
有
more
70.2
than
万老年
3
人享受
million,
综合
4 million, and 7 million
强化
respectively.
困难老年人斗地保障，
More than
及时将符合条件的农村高龄、
700,000
失能
elderly
等
people
困难
has
老年人
received
纳
comprehensive
入最低
subsidies.
生活保障范围。
Subsistence allowance will be provided
那
for
么截至
elderly
目
people
前，
with
已有
special difficulties.
1420万老年人纳入城
So
乡地保，
far, more than 1.4
371.7 万
million
老年
elderly
人纳
people
入
are
特困
included
农业，
in the
实
urban
现了
and
应
rural
保尽保、
subsistence allowance
应养
system.
尽养，
And more than 3
深
million
化
people
公办养老机
receive
构改
special
革，
subsidies.
大力发展
Everyone
居家和社
who
区
needs
养老
the
服务，
help can get the help.
重点为经济困
We
难、
have
失能、
deepened
半
the
失能老
reform
年人
of
提供服务，
public elderly
建立
care
健全农
institutions.
村留守老年人
We
关爱
have
服务体系，
established a care
加强
system
农
for
村
left
独
behind
居、
senior residents
空
in rural
巢
affairs
留守老年人关爱服务，
so as to
帮助他
provide
们
better
安心
service for
晚年。
them and help them live a
二
happier
是深
senior
化拓
life.
展儿童福利，
Second, we have expanded
逐步提
welfare
高
for the
孤儿基本
children.
生活保障的标准。
Basic
截至
living
目前，
standards has been raised
全国
for
养育
the
的
children,
孤儿
especially
是
orphans.
16.9万人，集中
More
可
than
分散供应孤儿的平均
169,000
保证标准
orphans were
分别
taken
达到
care
每
of
人每月
nationwide.
1728
for
元
them
和
reached
1788元，
1,728 and 1,288 RMB for
82%
institutionalized and
开展
non-institutionalized
孤儿
orphans.
医疗康复明天计划，
Medical care campaigns for orphans
近
benefited
22.3万人次，
nearly
实施福彩圆梦孤儿助学工
223,000
助
orphans.
力呢8万多人
Education
实现
campaign
了大圆梦，
benefited
着力提升孤儿养育质量，制定实施
804,000
儿童福利机制
orphans
的完
and
善
has sent them to
推进儿童
colleges
福
and
利
its
机构优化机
universities.
制和重新转型，
We have
保持
formulated
发
the
展
regulations on the administration of child welfare
探索拓展
institutions
保障
so
范
as to
围，
achieve high quality
34万
development.
实施无人抚
We
养
have
儿童纳入了
expanded
制
the
度保障
coverage of the
将农
system.
村留守儿
De
童
facto
推进儿童
unintended
纳入
children
关爱
are
服务
covered
体系。
by protection
截至目前，
mechanisms.
全国共配备
So far,
15.5万名
we
儿
now
童辅
have
导员，66.7万名儿童主任，
55,000 supervisors and 667,000 deans for
推
children
动全面
welfare.
建立困难残疾人
Third,
生活
we
补
have
贴和
raised
重度
the
残疾人
welfare
就业
for
补
the
贴制度，
disabled. We have
普遍建
expanded
立
the
补
mechanism
贴
for
标准，动
subsidies
态调
and
整机制，
cares for the
并实现
disabled
跨
and
省通办
severely
和
disabled.
全程
The
往返。
assistance system
截至目前，
has
领性补贴呢
established
分别惠
the
及
mechanism to
1181.2
make
万
dynamic
困难残疾人
adjustments.
和1532.2
So
万
far,
重度残疾人，推动加快发展康复辅助体系
million disabled people in need, and 15 million severely disabled people benefited from the mechanism. We also accelerated the development of rehabilitation assistance devices. From 2012 to 2021, a campaign has benefited the disabled people in welfare institutions in the middle and western parts of China. We have earmarked accumulated 6.9 billion RMB to support mental health welfare institutions. We help those institutions to provide better service for the disabled, which have strengthened the sense of fulfillment and happiness of the disabled people. Looking forward, the ministry will continue to earnestly fulfill and implement the instructions made by President Xi Jinping and enhance our service, raise the level so as to establish a welfare mechanism that are compatible to the economic and social development in China, and provide stronger support for the common prosperity goal.
请继续提问。这边吧，第二排这位女记者。
谢谢。中新社记者提问：社会组织和慈善力量是有别于市场和政府的重要力量。 党的18大以来，我国社会组织和慈善力量蓬勃发展，在脱贫攻坚、疫情防控、抢险救灾等方面都发挥了积极的作用。
And the ministry has played an important role in supporting poverty alleviation, COVID response, and disaster release. What are the work that the ministry has done? Thank you for your question. I will answer your question. Since the 18th National Congress of the CPC, social organization and charity work has scored historic achievements and transformation, which can be summed up in the following aspects. First, the CPC has strengthened full leadership on social organizations and charity work. In the past decade, CPC committees in social organizations have clear functions. Management system and work mechanisms for party building work in social organizations has been strengthened and improved with a greater coverage of effective work. By the end of 2021, China has established 171,000 CPC organizations in social organizations. Upholding the CPC leadership and core values of socialism has been included in the charters of social organizations. The dual capacity of CPC committees, leaders, and board members in social organizations have become a norm in China. Second, in the past decade, we have further optimized the environment for social organizations and charity work. The country has enacted the charity law, the civil code, and the regulations on volunteerism and other laws and regulations. The regulations on the registration and administration of social organizations, the regulations on the administration of foundations, and interim regulations on the registration and administration of private non-enterprise units are being revised and improved. The country and our competent departments have continued to improve policies, including the non-profit organization tax-exempt status determination, public welfare donations pre-tax deduction, public welfare equity donations, tax exemption for membership fees, and the use of donation notes. Central fiscal budget earmarked special funds to support social organizations to provide social services for the public for consecutive years. The State Council clearly stated that while formulating regulations and policies, the voice of industry organizations, chambers of commerce, and administrative agencies should be heard. All of these efforts that I mentioned have helped create a better environment for the development of social organizations. Third, we've seen new dynamism and impetus for social organizations and charity work. In the past decade, 729 national industrial associations, chambers of commerce, and administrative agencies have been participating in the program. and those agencies have been decoupled from each other. We also nurtured a large batch of social organizations that the public can directly participate in. Internet charity also boomed, becoming a new impetus for charity work. Every year, online fundraising has grown by more than 20% annually. Fourth, social organizations and charity organizations have played a bigger role. In the past decade, we have witnessed the fastest development of social organizations in China. So far, China has more than 900,000 registered social organizations, which is 20,000 times compared with that of the early days of the PRC, or 150 times that of the early days of the reform opening up. Registered and designated charity organizations reached more than 100,000. Starting from 2020, charity donation every year reached 200 billion RMB, up by 155% compared with that of 2012. Since the 18th Party Congress, organizations and charity have participated in the battle against extreme poverty by implementing more than 92,000 programs and investing more than 124 billion RMB. They have actively participated in building a level playing field in the market. They participate in the formulation of 2,499 national standards and 364 international standards. Non-profit private elderly care institutions now account for 44.7%. Responding to different needs of the public. In the past decade, social organizations and charity organizations have scored significant achievement. The fundamental reason is that we have successfully embarked on a path of building social organizations with Chinese characteristics. We'll continue to stick to this path and do our work. And we believe that we will definitely embrace a brighter future.
好，请继续提问。最旁边吧，第一排这位记者。
谢谢发言人。人民网记者提问：近年来，民政部部署实施了多项改革创新举措，比如婚姻登记跨省通办，深受人民群众欢迎。请问，党的18大以来，民政部在全面深化改革方面取得了哪些突出的进展？谢谢。
Registration is very popular among the people, and what are the measures that have been taken and what will be done in the future?
婚姻改革、婚诉改革，是近2年来全社会都很关注的话题。
Thank you for your question.
这个事情，我在部里头是具体分管这项事情的。
Customs reform
我来给你们
is in my
做一点
portfolio,
介绍。
so I will briefly
结
talk
婚是
about
一件
that.
美妙
Here.
而
Getting
幸福的
married
事
is a
情，
happy and joyful
但是一
thing,
个时期以
but
来，
for some time,
一些地方大家也注意到
in，some
存
places,
在着一些在婚诉领域存在着一些不好的现象，
there are
比方
some
说高价彩礼，
phenomena
比方
such
说
as
大钞大办，
high betrothal gift
比方
or
说
bride price, excess
艺术的一
ceremony,
些婚闹，
grades to
还有一些
vie with each
较
other,
高的
extravagance
随
and
礼，
waste,
这些
vulgar
现象和
wedding
问
and
题
pricey wedding red
都成了
envelopes
群
and
众的
other
沉重的
issues.
经济负担。
These
也
problems
本来是
have
喜事，添了堵，
caused a burden on the people
为社会所诟病，
and cast a shadow over a
这个
joyful
以至于很
event,
多或者
has
是一
been
些年轻
criticized by
人
many,
害怕结婚。
to the point that
人民
many
群
young
众
people
非
are
常
afraid
期
of
盼我
getting
们
married.
对
People
这个婚诉领域的这一些不良现象，
effective governance and correction of such phenomena
以扭转社会风气。
so as to
从2018年开
improve
始，民政部
the
就将
situation.
婚诉改革
Since 2018, the
纳入了重
MCA
要的
has
历史日程，
put marriage custom reform on its agenda, and in April and in September of 2021, we confirmed a total of 32 experimental zones for such reform, and there are also such reforms, experimental zones at the local level. So far, the work that has been done can be summarized in the following aspects. First, addressing the problems of high betrothal gifts. Some experimental zones use specific cases to raise awareness about the harm of high betrothal gifts and excess ceremonies. Some have introduced regulations and rules, and some are using examples to guide the people. For example, hosting group weddings to provide better service to the people. And some are using village conventions or community conventions to make specific regulations. The second part is to advocate civilized family traditions. Various means and ways are explored to bring good family traditions, teachings, and mottos to communities and households. The third point is to strengthen marriage and family counseling. I have a number to share with you. So far, for marriage registration offices at the county level and above, over 75% of them have set up counseling rooms. So administrative offices are able to provide counseling and information and education to new couples to improve family relations. All the experimental zones have done a good job in such reforms and won the praise from society, especially for high betrothal gifts and excess ceremonies. From the point of view of the MCA, we have done more than that. For example, in recent years, we are conducting the cross-province marriage registration. We are piloting that in 6 to 7 provinces, which is highly recommended by workers. Going forward, we will expand the pilot for cross-border registration so that more people will benefit from this measure. For this purpose, we must improve infrastructure, including the informatization of marriage data, because we have to compile all marriage data from the establishment of the PRC into electronic databases. We will continue to speed up our work so that the reform will benefit more people. Thank you very much. Our speaker talked about the marriage customs reform, and is there anything that you want to add to the cross-province marriage registration? I will add a few things to that. Reform is a driver of high-quality growth of civil affairs work in the new era, and since the 18th Party Congress, General Secretary Xi Jinping has emphasized that we need to take a systematic and holistic approach to reform to create synergy, give more priority to reforms that enhance the people's sense of benefit. Relevant civil affairs departments have implemented the instructions of General Secretary Xi Jinping and the decisions of CPC Central Committee. We have combined improving top-level design with addressing the people's most immediate concerns. And
一是坚持制度
we
引
have
领，
done the following
督促
three
其民政事业发
things.
展的四梁八柱。
First,
10
we have
年来，全国人
established
大
a
及其常委
framework
会
for
制
civil
定和
affairs
修订慈
work
善法等
since
民政领域相关
in the
法
last
规
10 years,
和
the
九件。
MPC and
国务院
its
制定
standing
和修
committee
订民政领
formulated
域相关
9
法规
laws
七
in
件。
this
报
area.
请
The
出台
State
的中英
Council
文件
7
13个，国
regulations.
务院
The
文件
CPC
19
Central
个，
Committee issued
制
13
定具有
documents
重
and
要改
State
革
Council
创新价值的
19
文件
documents.
100多
Over
个，
100 documents
建
of
立了
important
7
reform and
个
innovation
不同
value
的
has
制
been
度。
formulated,
着力改革完善的社
and
会
we
救
have
助制，
established
建
7
立了
interministerial joint
分
meeting
层分类的
mechanisms.
8+1社会救
We
助
have
体系。
established a tiered social assistance system
完
that
善的
coordinates
加强
urban
基
and
层
rural
治理体
areas,
系
and
和
we've
治理能力
improved
现代化
top-level
建设，
design for
加
modernizing
强
community
乡镇
level
政府
governance
服务能
system
力
and
建设，
capabilities,
改革完善社会
strengthening
组织
urban
管
and
理
rural
制度
community
等层
governance,
设计，推进建立了面向
and
全体老
village
年人的
affairs
基本养老服
supervision
务
and
制，
others. We have
建立健
also
全的加强
established a
行政计
basic
划工作
elderly
管
care
理，
system
避
for
免
all
管理
elderly
法规
people
制度。
and improved
党领
regulation
导
and
新时
systems
代
for
民
managing
政发展的
administrative
体制机
division
制
and place
和法
names.
律制度呢，
So
进一
the
步健全完善。
party-led institutions and
第二
systems
是
and
呢，
legal
就是
framework
坚
for
持
civil
问题导
affairs
向，
has been
及时回应，
improved.
解决
Second,
群
we
众
have
关切。
responded
10
promptly
年来，
to
聚
the
焦人民
people's
群众
concerns. In the
反映
past
强烈
10
的客户
years,
问题，
in order to
先后部署推进
address
了全国养老院服务质
the
量提升，打击
quality
养老服
problem
务
of
领域
nursing
诈骗，
homes, to
非法
fight
社会组织
elderly
整治，
service fraud,
行业协会商会乱收
manage
费治理，
illegal social
农村低保专
organizations,
项治理，殡仪
address
业
unlawful
部分
fees
及
collected
城
by
里整
industry
治等11
associations,
个专项项目，
and other
点面结合，
problems. We
集
have
中力
carried
量
out
推
over
动
10
解决损害
campaigns
群众利益的问题，
to address all those
坚持标本
problems
兼
that
治，针对
hurt
普遍
the
性、根
interests of the
源性、
people.
深层次
We
矛
have
盾，
addressed
加
universal
快建立健
deep-seated
全、不
problems
短
and
板、
root
填空白、
causes,
强监管的制度
strengthen
机
the
制，
weak links, fill up
确
the
保各
blanks,
项惠民
and
政策
strengthen
呢更好转
supervision
化为
to
人民
ensure
群众
that
的
these
福祉。
policies are translated
第三个
into
方面就是
benefits
坚
for
持
the people.
创新驱动，
The
不
third
断提
point
升
is
为
that
民
we
服
have
务效率。
explored innovation and
刚才
improved
战部
our
长介绍了
ability
这
to
个
serve the
婚服
people,
的，那么10年来，我
including
们
the
在社区治理、
marriage
服
customs
务、居家
reform.
和社区养老服务、
In such
康复
fields
辅助
as
器日
community
常养
governance,
育，
home-based
也普
community
遍推
elderly
进了
care,
一系列
marriage
的改革
customs
试点
reform,
项目，
and rehab
全面
aids
推进
industry.
乡
We
镇
have
社工站建
conducted
设，持
pilot
续优化互联
programs
网加民政服务，指导地方
and
深化民政分管覆盖，
guided
探索实施地保
localities
审核
to
确认权
strengthen
委托下
their
放，
functions reform,
有急难
government
发生
functions
地直
reform
接
in
实
civil
施临
affairs.
时救助等这个改革创新。
We've allowed the
同时呢，
place
加
where
强
emergency
新技
takes
术、
place
新
to
手段的
provide
应用，
temporary aid
全面提升
directly,
民政
and
管
we
理
have
服务水
improved
平，广大民政服务
employed
对
new
象得到了
technologies,
实实
new
在在的
means
便利和实惠。那么
to
下一
bring
步
more
呢，我们
benefit
将
to
坚
the
持以
people.
习近平新时代
Going
中国
forward,
特色
we'll
社会主义
continue
思
to
想为
take
指
Xi
导，
Jinping's thought
认
for
真贯彻落实总
on
书记关于
socialism
民
with
政工
Chinese
作的重要指
characteristics
挥
for a
精
new
神，
era as our
坚
guide
持以
to
人民为中
implement
心，
the important
围绕更好履行行
instructions,
政
put
上
our
民政
people
工作的
in the
使命
center,
任务，
and
持续深
continue
化
to
改革
fulfill
创
our
新，
mission
推动民
in
政事业
civil
高质量
affairs
发
work
展，为全
so
面
as
建
to
设社会主义
contribute
现代化国家做出
to
新的贡献。
fully building a modern socialist
请继
country.
续提问。
Thank you. Next question, please.
先这边吧，第二排这位女记者。
谢谢主持人。北京青年报记者提问：习近
Beijing
平总书
News
记强调，基层
paper.
强则国家强，基层安则天下安。10年来，民政部在加
President
强
Xi
基层
Jinping
政
have
政权建设
emphasized
和
the
创新
work
城
of
乡和
community
治理方
level
面取得了哪些
organizations.
进展？
What are the progress that the ministry has made
谢
in
谢
this
你这个提
regard?
问。
Thank you for your question.
我们部专门有一个司叫基层
The
政权
ministry
和
has
社区
the
治理司，
department
是专
in
司
charge of
基层治理这
community
方面的
level
工作。
work.
今天他们的司长那个
And we
陈阳
have
同志也来了。
We're very happy to
请陈阳
have
同志
the
回答这个问题。
DG of the Community
感谢您
Government
的
Work
关注。
and Governance
党的
Department.
18大以来，
So I'll
以
give the
习
floor
近
to
平
my
总书记
colleague.
为核心的
Since the 18th
党中央
National Congress
高
of the
度重视
CPC,
基层治理工作，
The Central Committee of the CP Civil Commerce CGTN Score has paid special emphasis on the community-level government work and urban and rural community governance. We have seen continuous progress in this regard. The sense of fulfillment, happiness, and security of the people has been enhanced, and the foundation of CPC leadership has been consolidated, demonstrating the constitutional advantage and governance efficiency in China. First, we now have a stronger party leadership. The CPC Central Committee has published and revised party regulations so as to improve the institutional system of the party leadership on community-level governance. We also established a streamlined and efficient management system under the leadership of CPC Central Committee and with coordination between governments and CPC organizations. 95.6% and 93.9% of party secretary are head of the primary level governments in villages and communities, respectively, up by 29.5 percentage point and 30.2 percentage point compared with the number before the leadership transition. Now we have a more mature system at the community level. Residents, committees in villages and communities now possess the status of legal persons, with longer tenure extended from 3 years to 5 years. Democracy at the community level has been expanded and developed. People getting to discuss their own affairs has become the feature of our times, when the running of the country is by the people. Third, we now have a more complete and improved institutional system. We have published a series of policy advice to establish a stronger foundation for the modernization of community governance. Those policies are of high standards, quality, and are highly operable, demonstrating the CPC's priority of community-level work, and has established a strong foundation of community-level governance system. Fourth, we now provide better services for the people. Service facilities at community levels covers now 100% in the urban areas and has grown from 31.8% to 79.5% in rural areas, up by 18 and 47.7 percentage points respectively. The function of those facilities has been improved to provide better service for the people. Surveys show that 87.6% of the public are satisfied with the service. Fifth, the community is playing a bigger role. The CPC Central Committee and State Council has continued the efforts of delegating powers, empowering those organizations, and cutting burdens for the communities. The law and the rule of law and the rule of virtue has been improved. We have embarked on a new journey of unified leadership of party committees and good interactions between government administration, social adjustment, and public autonomy. In the battle against extreme poverty, impoverished villages and communities have fully implemented policies and united and led people, improving living standards through hard work. Nationwide, 35,000 relocated communities in the poverty alleviation campaign have strengthened capacity building of governance services, and 9.6 million people now live a new life. In COVID-19 response, 4 million social workers in rural and urban areas have fought on the front line. They have helped build a strong defense against the virus at the community level. Sixth, the team of the community governance has been optimized. We have selected good leaders for party and governance organizations in villages and communities. Now, 46.4% and 82.6% of leaders of residence committees now have college degree or above. We have more young, educated, and capable social workers working at the community level. 8 out of the 29 awardees of the July the 1st medal have worked at community level. In retrospect, in the past decade, community-level governance has played a crucial role in maintaining sustained and rapid economic growth and long-term social stability in China. The strong leadership of the Communist Party of China has ensured sustained and steady growth of community-level governance. With the strong leadership of the CPC, we will continue to improve the system of community-level self-governance, fully mobilize people's enthusiasm, and ensure the running of the country by the people. We are determined to build a solid foundation of rural and urban communities. Always focus on the center and serve the big picture. Thank you.
第一排吧，第一排这位女记者。
谢谢主持人，红星新闻记者提问。我们发现那个养老诈骗现在正在严重威胁着老年人的晚年幸福。
Thank you. We found that there is a big problem of elderly care service fraud. There is a special campaign tackling this problem. So, what has been done by the MCA? What is the progress and what will be done in the future? Thank you for your question. It is indeed a very important question. It is an area that the MCA is working on in recent years. We are happy to have Mr. Li Banghua today with us, who is an expert in elderly care. I will give the floor to Mr. Li Banghua. Thank you for your interest. In recent years, some criminals conducted fraud in the name of elderly care, bringing economic losses and mental pain to the elderly people. And there has been a lot of complaint about that. The CPC Central Committee, with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, are particularly concerned by the welfare of the elderly people, to strengthen the importance of safeguarding their lawful rights and interests, and that all these illegal activities must be dealt with in accordance with the law. Last April, 12 departments authorized by the CPC Central Committee conducted a nationwide campaign targeting elderly service campaign, elderly service fraud, and MCA is part of that campaign, and we particularly address problems and hazards, and it has been underway for over half a year. First, we have conducted a comprehensive publicity campaign. We raised awareness about these problems, and MCA authorities published platforms for reports and complaints, published materials for education, and published some typical cases to educate the people about typical means and methods of fraud. Such awareness campaign reaches households, communities, and every corner of society. Many local civil affairs offices and elderly care institutions are also mobilizing the elderly people themselves to join the publicity campaign to raise the elderly people's ability to identify such fraud. Secondly, we have conducted a comprehensive canvassing. Up until August, we have conducted at least 2 rounds of canvassing, going through over 270,000 elderly care institutions and venues, and we've identified 950 institutions and venues with potential hazards and risks, because some venues are illegal. And these 950 include 576 unregistered underground venues and institutions. And third, we have conducted a comprehensive campaign to address the risks. We have established a red, orange, yellow, a tiered list. We talked about the 950 institutions and venues, and we have already closed 510 of them. 81 are handed over to judicial authorities, and 91 have been handed over to relevant departments. So the existing risks and hazards are being resolved in an orderly manner. Going forward, the MCA will continue to follow the plan of the nationwide campaign to speed up the work in resolving all the existing risks and dangers, and establish more regulations and systems to curb the additional risks and dangers. We will establish a long-term supervision mechanism together with relevant departments. We will also strengthen early warning, because this campaign involves multiple agencies and we will work with them in collaboration. We will work with relevant departments to better regulate the payment paid to nursing homes so that our people will be safer and more secure in their old age. Thank you. Next question, please. Thank you. Recently, the Ministry of Civil Affairs, together with relevant departments, have launched a series of initiatives aimed at bridging the shortcomings of community governance and services, promoting employment and entrepreneurship of college graduates in the community and doing a good job in community COVID control. How can you balance these three targets, and what are the priorities going forward? Thank you for your question. I see a long-standing interest in community-related issues, and I will ask my colleague to answer the question. Thank you. General Secretary Xi Jinping attaches great importance to community governance, and at every local inspection visit, he would go to villages and communities and make important instructions. This year, the MCA has reported to the Central Committee to issue opinions on regulating the work affairs mechanisms, certification matters of village-level organizations. We've advanced the work in building smart communities, encouraging 2022 college graduates to find work, find jobs in urban and rural communities, and strengthen village-level service function, and setting up COVID control special posts at community level. We've formulated a guideline for community-level COVID control and volunteer work. Such mix of measures have implemented the important instructions of General Secretary Xi Jinping and guided localities to strengthen the weak links in community governance and services, strengthen COVID control, and guiding college graduates to find jobs and start up businesses at the community level. Urban and rural community governance is a systematic project, and we have worked on the following four aspects to balance and synergize these three targets. First, we have improved the environment through regular COVID control. We are speeding up our work to establish village or community-level public health commission or committee. We've established specialized personnel for COVID control at the community level. We strengthen communities' preparedness for emergencies, and being mobilized volunteers at the community level to participate in this work. Second, we have promoted development through specialized professional teams. We have continued to encourage college graduates to find jobs and start up businesses at the communities, and regulated the enrollment of community workers, improved the safeguards and incentives system for community workers, and worked with relevant departments to explore policy measures in strengthening the ranks of community workers, establish a remuneration system, and improve a dynamic adjustment mechanism. We work to enhance the ability of community workers, to strengthen their training and improve their professional expertise. Third, we've improved village-level comprehensive service abilities to strengthen the weak links. Since the 18th Party Congress, there has been good progress in rural communities' service system, but the weak link is still our rural areas. We have put in mind the most immediate concerns and welfare of the rural residents, strengthen our ability to serve the people in rural areas, improved the function of providing basic public services, and ensure its equal access, enriched service supply in order to meet the various diverse demands of the farmers, rural residents, thus working for rural revitalization and promoting common prosperity among rural residents. The fourth part is to improve efficiency through information technology. We have built smart communities and created new forms of community governance service based on information technology and smart technology. We've strengthened infrastructure, built integrated platforms of information, and expanded the community governance scenarios for the smart technology application, encouraged the use of big data, streamlined the data collection at the community level, and make full use of big data, cloud computing, artificial intelligence, and other new technology to pool and coordinate various service resources so as to empower our community-level COVID control, community-level governance and service. The modernization of community-level service and governance is a work in process, and we will continue to improve our work in this area, to improve the quality of our service, reduce burdens on the people, and enhance governance system and capabilities.
Thank you.
封面新闻记者提问：2020年，中办国办印发了关于改革完善社会救助制度的意见。
In 2021, CPC Central Committee and State Council issued
针对疫情采取了哪些措施？未来在改革完善社会救助制度方面
an
有
opinion
哪些考虑？谢谢。
for social assistance system. Thank you for your question.
党的18大以来啊，有2个法规文件啊，对社会救助制度的发展
Since the 18th Party Congress, there are two regulations that are important for social assistance. One is the interim measures in social assistance published in 2014, and the other one is the one you talked about, the 2020 opinions on reforming and improving social assistance system. And the MCA has done a lot of work in this area, and the work can be summed up in the following aspects. Our aim is to make social assistance broad in coverage, more accessible, more convenient, and more precise. First, we have adjusted the systems of subsistence allowance, special difficulty aid, and temporary assistance. For example, subsistence allowance can be handed out to individuals in addition to households. Eligibility for special difficulty aid is extended in terms of grade of disability, and the age threshold for eligible minors is moved from 16 to 18 years old, and small amounts of temporary assistance is now delivered in advance to provide emergency relief. Second, we have formed a comprehensive framework of assistance. Social assistance is not the job of civil affairs alone. It is an area where all relevant departments work in coordination to build a tiered system that coordinates urban and rural areas. The centermost circle is subsistence allowance and special difficulty aid, and further outward is households on the margins of allowances and families with high expenses. Medical services, education, housing, and employment assistance are provided at the same time, and there is a national level social assistance inter-ministerial meeting mechanism. The county-level governments lead a coordination mechanism to pool resources to provide better assistance. And we have improved the evaluation of financial status of households applying for assistance. We've improved the method for determining household income and wealth, improved the cross-examination mechanism, and reduced the frequency of re-examination of financial status of people already covered. And we've made social assistance service more convenient and efficient. We've delegated the power of confirming subsistence allowance recipients to the street level. We established a relief fund at the street level, and there are hotlines for social assistance service. And we've established a mechanism to identify those who needed support and assistance. And more areas allow people to get their allowance on their phones, so that the people will better benefit from such as policies. And in terms of the impact of COVID-19, the MCA worked with relevant departments to implement these central instructions to adjust our policies, and also rolled out emergency reliefs. For example, for those who are not covered by unemployment insurance, we've sent out one-off assistance. And also, we have also worked with relevant departments to improve the system of linking social assistance and benefits with the price, expanded eligibility on a temporary basis, and we allowed the place where emergency takes place to provide immediate emergency relief. Social assistance is an foundational arrangement of ensuring and meeting basic living needs and ensuring social justice and fairness. The MCA will continue to implement the instructions of the CPC Central Committee and the State Council, continue to improve deepen the reform of social assistance system, to make social assistance more law-based, precise, professional, and information technology-based, so that the people will truly benefit from such assistance. Next question, please.
General Secretary Xi Jinping has emphasized the need to ensure elderly care for the old so that they can live a happy life. It is a crucial issue to the sustainability and harmony of the society. What are the work that the ministry has done in elderly care, and what are the future priorities? Since the 18th Party Congress, the Party Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core has on the one hand cracked down on elderly care service fraud and helped the old-aged to find the proper place to live a happy senior life. I'll give the floor to my colleague. Thank you for your question. Elderly care is an important issue in the whole society. Since the 18th Party Congress, the Party Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, taking into account the situation and the big picture, has made decisions to speed up the development of elderly service industry and established the elderly service system with Chinese characteristics. Not long ago, General Secretary Xi Jinping, while visiting Liaoning province, has made important instructions on elderly service. The Ministry of Civil Affairs severally studied and implemented the important instructions, both in letter and in spirit, and has made significant achievements in this regard, which can be summarized in 5 aspects. First, the institutional framework for the elderly services have been improved. The Standing Committee of the NPC has amended 3 times the law on the protection of the rights and interests of elderly people. More than 10 policy documents on elderly services has been published, and more than 90 policies has been issued. More than 50 national or industry standards has been published. Elderly service is an important part of developing national systems in China. So far, 14.2 million elderly people nationwide receive subsistence allowance, and more than 3 million are included in the system of special difficulty support. The two systems have covered all provinces, benefiting more than 36 million elderly people. The care and service system for the elderly left behind in rural areas have been established, and these population is visited to have special care. Nationwide, we have 360,000 elderly care institutions and facilities with more than 8 million beds, nearly twice that of 2012. Special arrangements have been provided in such areas as land, tax, and fiscal subsidies. The market for civil economy has been fully elaborated. Fourth, the rapid development of home-based and community-based elderly service has been achieved. 320,000 community-based senior care service institutions and facilities have been established, accounting for 88.9% of the total number. The renovation and upgrading programs of elderly care facilities and institutions have been launched. Fifth, the quality of elderly care services continues to grow. A 4-year joint campaign has been launched to enhance service quality of nursing homes nationwide. Nearly 40,000 nursing homes have been covered, and a number of projects on fire safety, elderly service, fraud elimination have been launched to further protect the legitimate rights and interests of the old-aged. Looking forward, the Ministry will continue to thoroughly implement important instructions of the General Secretary Xi Jinping, both in letter and in spirit, to improve legislation of elderly services, enhance the institutional framework of elderly service care, with the special service system as a breakthrough, so as to foster a new paradigm of elderly service development. With the long-term care service as the key, we aim to further optimize the supply of elderly services. And with development and safety as the focus, we aim to further strengthen the comprehensive supervision of elderly service. The fundamental goal for us is to enable the elderly people to live a happy life and implement the instructions of General Secretary Xi Jinping. Thank you. Thank you for your participation. This is the end of today's press conference.